to be very proud of that. Right, bear with me. In 1900, as the new century emerged, large numbers of women were getting involved in active politics and cultural movements reflecting the Gaelic revival. This was the Gaelic League, the foundation of the National Theatre, the Innian na hÉireann, founded by Maud Gonne, the GAA, and then there was also an interest in the translation and the telling of the old saga literature, and they actually started to be able to reread the old Sean Gaelic that was spoken and written in around the 5 till 1000s. And this was all happening around that 1900s. These women came from diverse backgrounds but were united in a common cause. Many issues in common with the 4 countries of these 2 islands. Issues like female suffrage, workers' rights, and here was of course the ever festering national question. These women were activists and workers at a time when it was unladylike and disreputable for them to take any part in politics. The working women suffered poverty, ill health, and in the case of the suffragettes, imprisonment and premature death because of the position they took. In 1911, the Irish Women Workers' Union was established. This was following the ITGWU 2 years earlier in 1909, and James Connolly wrote, "The militant women who, without abandoning their fidelity to duty, are yet teaching their sisters to assert their rights and are re-establishing a sane and perfect balance that makes it more possible to form a well-ordered Irish nation." Organised by Larkin and Connolly, strikes became more frequent throughout Ireland in this period. The ITGWU had notable success in Wexford and other towns. However, in 1913, 20,000 workers became involved in what is now known as the lockout, lasting from August 1913 to January-February 1914. It brought more women into touch with the labour movement. Women like Margaret and Madeleine French-Mullen were drawn by humanitarian instincts to assist those who were suffering as a result of the lockout. They worked in the soup kitchens and they helped distribute food parcels, and they worked in Connolly's free food organisation. James Connolly actively encouraged women to politicise, and his daughter, Nora, quoting her father, stated, "No movement was assured success that had not women in it." Indeed, he wrote later, "Win the women to your cause and your cause is secure." And when some of the men argued that women would encumber the fight, Connolly retorted, "If none of the men turned out, the fight would be held by the women." And in R.M. Fox's words, these civilian soldiers staked their lives for the dream of freedom, and when men and women were ready to do this, it is surely a sign that human freedom can never be crushed. In response to the recognition of their female counterparts' military and political and cultural efforts, the 7 signatories and the compositors of the Easter Proclamation embodied the words in the document of the Provisional Government of the nascent Irish Republic. The Republic guarantees religious and civil liberty, equal rights and equal opportunities to all its citizens, the operative word there being all, and declares it resolves to pursue the happiness and prosperity of all the children of the nation equally. Earlier, Connolly had written, "Of what use to such sufferers can be the re-establishment of any form of Irish state if it does not embody the emancipation of women?" The Easter Proclamation contains much of Connolly's thinking and philosophy, which linked democracy to nationalism. The women he inspired continued his work in the years after his death, and indeed, Cumann na mBan remains the only Republican organisation that never betrayed the Republic. As Thomas will explain to you in the origins of the militant and armed organisations in Ireland by 1915, that came out of the lockout and things like that, namely the Irish Citizens' Army and the all-male Irish Volunteers, supported by Cumann na mBan, who almost exclusively sided with MacNeill when he split with Redmond in June 1914 over the issue of the Irish Volunteers going to fight in the British Army.